Great. I think we're going to start off with you, Justin, not to put you on the spot.
Fact.
We are putting you on the spot.
I think this film just is such an amazing celebration of a, perhaps lesser known part of disability history. I wanted to ask more about the motivation behind creating this film, and if you could also talk a little bit about what makes it a collective film, because it's credited as, made by Defiant Collective. So we'd love to hear a bit more about that process.
Well, we were working on another project, which before we did this, with a bunch of young disabled punks. I remember looking around the room at one point, and I thought the one thing these all have in common, all these young people, is that they're punks, And I said, well, what do you feel passionate about? What do you want to do next as a project? And they all agreed they'd like to do something about the intersection of the disability rights movement and the punk movement. And I thought, what a brilliant idea. Yeah. So we started to work on it. And I should say it's part of, this film is part of a bigger project funded by the National Heritage Lottery Fund, where we're producing our website, podcasts, fanzines, so a whole bunch of stuff celebrating disability rights and punk. By nature, it had to be collaborative because it's an educational project. We wanted to put these young people's voices and enthusiasms and what they were into these various outputs. But also, there's something in the collectivism. Can I say that? I don't know. Very good at pronunciation at this stage of the evening. But the collectivism of punk, and also the DIY nature of punk. The fact that a lot of it is just about people doing stuff, and that was very much the nature of this project. And we felt like we could just go out and produce these cool things: podcasts, websites, and this film as well. I should say. There's no Christopher Nolan on this film. It's not an auteur-driven film, and we're very keen on doing that. Some elements we had to have certain people in control of what was happening. But for instance, we had all the questions in the film for the interviewees were produced collaboratively. So we produced in discussion with the other people. The young people who were involved in the project. And then the editing process was kind of a little bit fraught at times because we had about 6 people in the room trying to decide what we should include and what we shouldn't include, So maybe there's something to be said for the auteur theory, but it was a really cool process, and I do feel like we had a genuinely collaborative film as a result of it, collectively produced film.
Yeah, it absolutely feels like that, despite how many cooks were in the kitchen.
Yeah, the broth came out. Matt, so we've had a lovely little chat beforehand where I thought you ran a film festival and you hadn't, but you had you were really passionate about how in the 90s there were these funding for these disability film festivals that would kind of bring together this punk and sort of building.
Yeah, well, I'm just like. I have lamented the lack of what I romantically think of as disability community around the arts. This is the nearest we've come to it for me in the last 25 years in London. In the old days, we used to be funded. Every county and borough had a disability arts forum. We had the London Disability Arts Forum, and they paid us disability artists to go and make work, which we made, and other disabled people and their allies and friends came to, and it created a community. And it was a very direct and obvious thing. Yeah. And I lament the lack of that, but I'm overjoyed that you guys are bringing it back in the way that's possible now, because it's totally unfunded, presumably. And I really think that collective protest work around disability, in this instance voiced through the medium of punk, is the best way, artistically, to grow community. Obviously through protest and politics and objections to the evil state and all of that as well. But for me, it's the arts and the evening events and the stuff that we enjoy and collectively enjoy together and realise our value and our worth and our awesomeness when we get together that can then get politicised. But it's the art that brings people together.
Yes.
And that's what I think. And that's what I lament, but that's what I'm encouraged that seems to be coming back.
Yeah, like I think I've said a few times, like we wanted We Crip Film to create a space to kind of just have a space taken over by disabled people for a little bit.
It's so nice to be in the NFT again and feel like this is our bag.
Yeah.
You know, rather than being a lone disabled person, hoping that whatever you might require is going to be afforded you.
Absolutely.
Jamisha, I wanted to ask, I mean, this is a very multi-generational panel, and as someone who also grew up with social media, and you've, built this community online, I wanted to ask you more about whether this is a new kind of punk, or movement creation, and perhaps any thoughts on whether you think it's easier for our generation to have community because of our access to the online world.
I think that's a tricky question, and in watching this, I was thinking about how I think the thing that sort of feels consistent, whether it's sort of now and the time period that's described in the film, is like sort of fuck it, I'll just do it, or fuck it, I'll do it myself. Sorry for swearing, but I feel like this is the best. I feel like we could swear. I feel like we could swear in this space. But like even the style of communication, the way of communicating just feels like that, and a lot of like building the spaces and just doing it. I mean, without money, without sort of anything. So that sort of feels present in this period. I would say what's easier perhaps is who you can connect with. Like I connect with people that I've never met in person, and I've known them for 8 years, and they live in, I don't know, like United Arab Emirates or in Kentucky or something. These are people that I speak to almost every day, and so we sort of share notes, and that perhaps might have been more difficult previously. But then in terms of the sort of connection that you get sort of in the room and in that sort of like I guess embodied connection, that can sometimes be more difficult. I think socials can sometimes also create closeness, and then I know I've had experiences where friends of mine I've known for years who have passed, and I think there's this weird period of like I never met them in person, and so sometimes you notice that sort of gap when socials can sometimes make things feel closer than they are, and then you are close to the person, but then you don't have their family's contact number, so there's still a level of like distance that perhaps is not quite the same as it was maybe in organising in person and just showing up to things and to gigs, etc. But in terms of like the breadth of people that you can connect with, I think that I've noticed feels different. I think.
Yeah, there's like the phrase that Penny said was like lonely bedroom punk. And it's sort of like, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's me. Like, I'm out now, like, looking like this, but most of the time I'm at home by myself with my cats. Sort of just reaching out to, just trying to reach out to people. So, yeah, no, I really felt that a lot. And yes, Penny, hi. So glad to meet you. You are so cool. You have facts. You've described yourself as a grandmother of punk, and I know you've also written a book about your experiences, and I guess I wanted to know what being the grandmother of punk means to you.
I must just start. Can you still hear me? Is that all right? Right. Because I don't have a lot of puff anymore. Too old. This has come up recently, doing this great project with Justin and the gang about being this grandmother of punk. And I must tell you something really funny. While I was doing a bit of prep for this yesterday, I actually put into AI, I think all artists should do this, it's funny. I said, what's Penny Pepper's connection to the disability punk movement? It's a very strange thing to do these days. So I put it into Gemini, and it told me I was the spiritual matriarch. And I thought, I've never been a spiritual anything, let alone a matriarch. But I think that I'm also going to do, I do want to do a very, I'm not even going to apologise, because we are punk today. I am punk. I will die punk. And say, I have bought my memoir here. I want to give one away to someone. The copy of First in the World Somewhere is my post-punk adventures. I do have some to sell as well. But part of why I want to do that is we are still, it's relating to what Matt says, we're still fighting for a lot. We haven't moved on a lot. In some ways, you can see if you like, the second wave of activism with those activists that change themselves to buses. Like Liz over there and Matt. And that has resulted in more accessible transport. But I say to you today, as an artist, it is still fucking hard to get our voices heard. I've written 6 novels, and I'm not going to do a sort of old-style girly thing and be apologetic about saying this. I've written 6 novels, and not one of them has been published. I've won awards for my work. And as a writer, as a storyteller, and yet I have an agent. And yet there's still, and it goes across the board, and many of us will recognise this, of where is our space. Where, you know, I'm over 60 now, and I'm still fighting that. I still passionately believe that. And if anyone out there wants to do the paperback of my memoir, please, you know,
David Blake,
email me, because even that, people say to me, why hasn't your memoir been done as a paperback? How the fuck do I know? How the fuck do any of us know where this has to go? It's lovely to be here, and I am feeling very celebratory to be in the. I've been here for like 5 odd years because I don't live in London anymore. I must just say, I'm sorry to rant on and ramble on, get carried away, but of course I live in Hastings, and what's great about that is that's where Polystyrene lived. I go by her house every other day, and I love it.
So you remember?
I didn't live in Hastings. I wasn't in Hastings then, but it's just such a great legacy. And I believe Jemima is Jemima here. Hello, Jemima. Are you still in St Leonard's? Are you in Hastings?
Jemima said that they're in Hastings.
Yes. That's so just amazing to me. And my final, sorry, I'm rambling on like a storyteller, I can't help it. My final thing is I met Ian in one of the very first disability arts festivals. I think it was, sorry, I've got a little bit of short-term memory, weird memory now. I think it was in Brentford. Middlesex.
Brentford. Yeah.
Anyone else remember this?
Waterman's Art Centre.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And Ian was the guest artist, and it was when I was doing a lot of music. I made an album, of course, blah blah blah. I was known as Kate Colbert, and my boyfriend of the time, who was my music manager, wanted me to show off in a leather bondage dress and give Ian Dury a cassette demo.
I'm going to say something else. Okay.
And yeah, that's it. I think, come and ask me the rest of that story at any time. It's an absolute honour to be here, and I love being in film. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny.
We're so glad to have you. Jess, I wanted to talk a little bit about how the kind of theme I certainly picked up from the film was how punk inspired you to do things in your own style and your own ways. And punk is very much about making up your own rules, and also that it can empower disabled people to create their own solutions. I wondered if you still use this punk attitude in your day-to-day life or with leading Tourette's hero.
Yes, yeah, very much so.
Okay,
I think there's so like. Sometimes at Tourette's Hero we talk about the idea that we like live in a normative supremacy where like normative ways of doing things are privileged above everything else, and I think there's often a pressure on disabled people not to take up space, not to be quiet, not to push back, and I think the thing that that generally goes quite badly for us. So I feel like pushing back, finding our own ways of doing things, not waiting for permission, because we'll wait forever.
Yeah.
And it is frustrating. And I think in a world where, like, I think some of the most exciting things for me is most recently is where there's like cross-movement solidarity, or where we're talking about collective liberation, and we're thinking about the sort of intersections of what capitalism has taught us all about what it means to be productive and who gets valued. And I think there's so much about the sort of punk and that spirit of punk that is about pushing back against those ideas that we really, really need right now.
Right.
Fuck.
I was thinking I was asked like the group one general question, then we can sort of open up to audience.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, this is everybody, how did punk culture help you find your crip liberation?
Fact.
Anyone can answer that if you want.
Very, very direct for me. When that punk said hello to me on the street, and I said hello back to him, it liberated me out of I felt I owned myself, and just that feeling of owning myself pushed itself into thinking that I felt disability was okay. I didn't think it was as negative as society was telling me. It was just that punk gave me the strength to finally throw off those shackles, to live my suspicions that was not the case, and to actively pursue a different meaning for everything, including myself as a disabled person. I mean, I'd like to think I would have got there in the end anyway, but definitely punk helped me get there quicker, and it was a fantastic vehicle for me.
Fact.
I think as a disabled woman, disabled girl, really, there was definitely, Mick said it in the film about that sort of road to Damascus moment, but for me it was instantaneous. In my horror at seeing the Sex Pistols, one of the most exciting things, that was on the Bill Grundy famous, because they swore a lot, said fuck and cunt and toffs and all. It was really great. But I saw Susie Sue wearing, I think it was a T-shirt, Malcolm McLaren T-shirt. She looked absolutely stunning and scary, but she didn't look like an archetype of of a woman of that day. And I thought, I want to be like that, and I want to be like that as a disabled woman. So that, I think, was what happened with me. It was just someone gave me a powerful, incredible woman just by doing, really basically fucking around, taking the piss out of Bill Grundy, changed my life.
Fact. I think for me it was there was this really incredible moment where I started to connect with the art being made, the art and culture being sort of made and produced by people who'd been influenced by the sort of punk movement. So Matt Fraser, Liz Carr, BBC Ouch had a huge influence back in my early sort of exploration of disability culture, because it allowed me to do it quietly from my bedroom without having to take the same sort of emotional risks. And then going into spaces, festivals like Liberty Festival, when it was in Trafalgar Square, and it felt there was something that felt really radical about being in a space where I wasn't in the minority, or like where I had permission to be fully bring my whole self into a space. And I think that seeing other disabled people making funny, irreverent, challenging, creative, activist work stuff in the world just made that feel like that was a possibility for me. And it gave me, I started to explore ideas that allowed me to let go of a load of my own preconceptions about what was possible for me. Fact.
Awesome.
I think there was a moment for me where I thought I realised it was everybody else's problem if I couldn't hear them, not mine. Punk rock moment, probably.
Yeah. Do you have like a punk moment that sort of brought you some liberation, or was it something else?
Well, what I will say is that, full disclosure, I'm born in '95, so I'm not going to pretend like I was there and did like.
I saw the Sex Pistols in Manchester at the hotel.
Yeah, I can't say that. Annoyingly, I can't actually say that. But what I will say is that I was an emo in school, and I also did go to punk gigs during my time at school. But I didn't know I was disabled at that period of time. I was diagnosed with my disability, or one of them, quite a lot later, and all of these things sort of gathered more recently in the last 5 years of realizing that they're interconnected, like punkness, queerness, disability, and essentially it's being, I can do it the way I want to do it, that I'm free, like I can do it in that way, and it might actually be longer, slower, perhaps not convenient for other people, but I'm allowed to do it because I can. And oftentimes there's this freeness that's felt in punk spaces, in queer spaces, in disabled spaces. It's hard to describe it, but it's this like exhale. So just to add, like, I'm like a filmmaker, but the film industry is not accessible and it's actually disabling even to non-disabled people. Then I realized, I can make films how the fuck I want. I can be slow. I can actually be the only person on set. I don't need 10,000 people. It can look a bit scrappy. It can look a bit scruffy. I can just do it how I want to do it. That's actually fine. And knowing that only arrived through disability and queerness, I think.
Fact.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to start opening up to audience questions. We got a bunch here, but we want to make sure that you also get a chance to say anything. So put your hand up. Yeah, right there.
I mean, yeah, we'd love to do something bigger, you know. I mean, this is what we were funded to do, and this is what we've done. But I think, you know, I'm sure there is more mileage in it, you know, and we could do something else. If there's anybody from the BFI, you know, Doc Society here, I don't know, fancy giving us some money. I mean, we did think
bundles of cash
because of the remit of our funding. We didn't include any archive footage, for instance. But I kind of felt that the Talking Heads were so strong that it was not necessary anyway, and the group felt that as well. You know, it's about people's testimony and what they had to say. But yeah, sure, I think it could be something longer. I'd like to see it longer. You know, I mean, we've certainly got lots more footage as well.
Yeah.
People,
And you said you got lots of like a website and archive and stuff. So where can people follow that?
Oh yeah, I should say if you look on the 104 Project CIC.
104
website.
Project CIC.
Yeah. Okay. And if you Google that, it will come up with the website. And then we haven't got the website up and running yet, but we will over the next couple of months. And if you look at it and follow that, then you'll be able to see the fanzine and all the bits and pieces emerging as they come to fruition.
You are asking for trouble. I love it.
Well, I mean, obviously, as a writer of many songs, the lyrics that I like the best are some I've written, but I'm going to go with Crass. I'm wearing my Crass socks. They were the anarcho-punk band. Fight war, not wars.
Yes.
Do they owe us a living? Course they do, course they do. Owe us a living? Course they do, course they do. Do they owe us a living? Course they do, course they do. Course they fucking do.
Fucking.
That's quite hard. It's quite hard to follow that, actually. I was playing that literally 2 days ago. I think because I did a post-punk album, and what was interesting is how I got to do that. The LP's out there, by the way. It's a rarity. I don't know any of the rights to it. It's a long, tedious rock and roll story. I think one of my favourite lyrics is, it's actually about the permission to be with someone. So I wrote a song called Marriage of Inconvenience, which partly shows its age, because these days I probably wouldn't just use the term marriage, but it says, still 2 single rooms, how silly to assume that once we find our freedom, togetherness would lead on. And I still feel that's happening now. What we've had recently, that disabled people have been kept against their will in hospitals or homes. So I wrote that over 40 years ago. But as a poet and a storyteller and etc., I will just say one of my favourite all-time lyrics has to be not only spasticus artisticus. I've just written a poem called Epilepticus Arthriticus, which hopefully I will be performing later this year, actually, in Hastings. But also, I'm so sorry to Polly, but I can't remember the exact opening. But I've heard that some people say girls should be seen and not heard. Oh, Bundy, drop yours!
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yes! All-time favourite.
Yeah,
Also,
that song always picks me up.
Yeah.
And I do think like I see so many commonalities, such a posh word, between sort of like the punk movement in the 70s and sort of what's going on now, sort of like trying to make our own things. I've been saying the phrase crip ingenuity a lot, because to me that just reflects that disabled people are inherently creative and will inherently do things their own way, whether it's sort of having your calipers put on a certain way, or I don't know, I wear these shoes because they're comfortable and not very pretty, and they're really dirty actually, but everyone kind of, and I think sometimes we don't always realise that we're doing that. And what I like about We Crip Film and films like Depunk is that they kind of sort of concentrate that, actually, look, we've always sort of doing creative things and figuring this shit out as we go.
Fab.
Yeah.
Hedgehog.
Anyone want to respond to that?
Fab. Biscuit.
Great.
Biscuit. I suppose in terms of like lyrics that I like, I did a lot of stuff with a singer and songwriter called Captain Hot Knives, and together we were the Tourette's Bipolar Alliance, and he died earlier this year. But we had some joint songs that with the lyrics, "Don't fix Humpty, fix society," that is one of my favourites, and "Share the biscuits, not the crumbs," which I think is very, very relevant. And I think that some of the spirit of like how rage and frustration can get focused through collective acts and shared acts of joy and sort of liberation definitely feels like it has a lot of its that root that is needed, really, really necessary at the moment. It feels like it has its roots in punk.
Catherine Arian.
I've written that.
I was going to say that, Penny.
Punk princess.
That's exactly.
Catherine, she would have been on this panel, wouldn't she?
She would have.
Oh, Catherine would have been great, and I miss her so much. I was honoured to know Catherine, and I could have spent a whole panel just talking about Catherine, but her legacy across, conceptual art, I think is unparalleled for us. And yet it also had in there not only its darkness, its mischievous nature, but its humanity. And just that thing of she was her art. And I'm absolutely honoured to say that it was me and Catherine who sat there and made up Sick Bitch Crips in her back garden. And one day, if I ever have the spoons and energy to do it, I will share the photos of that most amazing adventure. But I hope we never forget her, and we'll always celebrate the legacy she's left.
Fact. Yeah.
I can't really top that. No, I can't. Sorry, I was just listening to that. I'm in a whole remembering Catherine Arianiello thing, and I've forgotten what the question was now.
Fact.
It was sort of talking about like icons and people that we should look out for. Like, I've not heard.
Well, I think
before, so
one of the men.
She did something here.
One of the men that was interviewed was a guy called Tony Heaton.
Fact.
And he was some of the more articulate copy there. His artwork is fantastic. Yes. And he also started the National Disability Arts Archive. I'm not sure if he's still the curator of it, but he's a fantastic artist, a very influential. I can't say that it was particularly punk. He was very DIY, and for my money, his picture of Great Britain made out of bits of a wheelchair is still one of my most punk iconic disability arts images that feels so DIY as to be virtually punk. So I suppose I would say Tony's work. He was in the film.
In fact, I think I would say Lizzie Emma and the sort of and the whole Heart and Soul crew, Fish Police, and also the vacuum cleaner cleaning up after capitalism, Barmy Army.
I helped do Barmy.
and Selena Thompson.
What did you say about Tony as well? He's in the film, but he didn't. He didn't make the cut as much as some other people in the film, but he talked a lot about how he used to run a punk record shop in the 70s, which I never knew actually, Matt. But Yeah, he was at the forefront of the punk movement in Wigan.
Wigan.
Sorry, Jess, do you mind saying that person's name again, just because it didn't come up on the live captions? And
Selena Thompson, Lizzie M.A., the vacuum cleaner, motherfuckers.
And then finally, just mentioned in the film briefly, Karen Sheeder,
Yes.
The Fugitives.
Oh, fabulous.
Not with us anymore. Real punk force. I mean, she started that band when she was, I don't know how old she was, but she was definitely in her middle ages. And she started that punk band and carried on till she was, I think, probably a pensioner. And it just phenomenal work. Learning disabled, northeastern, very DIY, punk rock. Karen Sheeder, The Fugitives. Check them out.
And it would be good to know the BFI have her film. Was it Feathers and Chains? Do you remember that?
remember.
Liz? Feathers and Chains.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was. I
Feathers.
think it was about one of the Dan events where they did smoke bombs, and because of course a lot of Dan was very punk. It's very, as you know, Matt. I was probably wallowing on a deathbed for a lot of that. It's one of my saddest things. But yeah, I think Karen was a wonderful force. Sadly missed. I've
Bob
got
Dylan,
one.
Idols,
Idols, yeah.
big special.
Very BBC Six music.
He's your dad here.
I've got to get this right now. On South Coast, I think the South Coast girls. What are they called? Lambrini girls.
Oh,
Lambrini
Lambrini
Girls.
Girls. Yes, they're epic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and partly because of the way they perform and the way they just are. Is to me, it's just pure punk. They really don't give a fuck, and they're not like just. They're doing it for themselves again. They're not dressing up or they're scuzzy, and I love it. Absolutely love them.
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Punk
Check
is
'em
not
out.
nostalgia, you know, it's still going. There's still some amazing punk artists out there
Yeah, and like
around the world. Yeah.
punk is black, it's disabled, it's queer, it's everything. It's all
Absolutely.
there, and it's sort of like being able just to grab out and take it. I think we are at the end. Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my
Can I say a
god.
quick thank you
Yeah.
just to the whole We Crip Film team, because it's been an amazing film festival. I've been here for 3 days, and you guys have been brilliant, all you unsung heroes, you know, doing your bit. It's been really, really good, and thank you so much.
Yeah, shout out to Little Mel and Big Mel. Shout out to Bavini. Shout out to Rogan, Judith, Izzy. I've forgotten names. Help.
Sharon,
Everyone.
the whole BFI inclusion team, all of the amazing programming and
Alan
production
Hampson.
people who have made this happen, our BSL interpreters, Peter and Sarah, and
That's our actual
live
names.
and our live captioners, and and to Tara, and to me, and to
Yeah, thank. Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah.
everyone here.